Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to lesson 7 of the MyListing course, Recreating the Canvas Starter Site. In this lesson, we're going to quickly recap lesson 6, and then we're going to get into looking at a 404 page setup, setting up the footer, and setting up our policies, okay? For the quick recap, the previous lesson, lesson 6, we finalized the Elementor site settings, and then we also finished up the Elementor plugin settings to set up a solid foundation within Elementor and going over best practices and things of that nature. So definitely check out that lesson if you haven't before you watch this one, just to make sure that you're all caught up. And optionally hopefully watch all the other previous lessons. But let's go ahead and dive in here. Like I said, we're going to look at 404 page, setup, footer, and then policies. All right. So looking over at our project template to see where our progress is, like I said, 404 page is the first item up here. I'm going to go ahead and click into this card and just allow me a bit of narrative here. Every website should have a 404 page that displays when users stumble upon content that is no longer available and produces a broken link. This page should be lightweight and have clear, straightforward calls to action to get users back on track, like getting them back to your homepage at a minimum, okay? What I'm going to show you here in this video is a template from Canvas that does even more than that. Having a lighthearted 404 page is a great way to show the business, brand, personality, and ease any tensions that may arise from users having difficulty with your website. MyListing Theme's default 404 template. The MyListing theme includes a super basic default 404 template. While this template is better than nothing, it should be replaced with a professional looking custom 404 page. And then I go on to say, if you want to see that page, go ahead and follow these instructions, but I'm going to show you that right here. From the front end of our website, let's say we want to go over to our account page, and then let's say we stumbled upon a random page that didn't exist. This is the default MyListing 404 page. As you can tell, it is not professional. It is very limited. You cannot style this unless you are good with code. So, and your only other option is going back to the homepage. So I'm going to show you something much, much better. All right. All right, so for the 404 page, you can download templates from Elementor. You can download templates from other places that provide Elementor templates. You can create your own from scratch, or what I'm going to show you here, because we're recreating the Canvas starter site, is I'm going to import the 404 template from Canvas. All right, so for that, we're going to go under templates, and then we're going to do an add new. From the template type, we're going to choose error 404, and we're going to name our template 404 page. Click create template. And like I said, from right here, you can start, you can download templates from Elementor, elements, components from Elementor, and build your 404 page from scratch. Download from from other places, or like I said, we're going to import from the Canvas starter site. So I'm going to click this import upload icon here, and I'm going to select a file. And for my downloads folder, I'm going to choose the 404 page, the default light mode version from Canvas. Okay. And once that's in there, we can then click the insert button. And there we go. So just that easy, we now have the 404 page from Canvas. All right. And then you can style this up however you would like. One of the key components is this option down here. This is a bit of custom code that I've added. And what that allows you to do is, instead of just going back to the home page, it's going to take the user back to the page they were previously on. A much better experience, in my opinion. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click publish here. And Elementor is nice enough to default this to the display conditions to go ahead. Let's display that this is our 404 page. So we're good to go there. We're just going to click save and close. Now from the front end, I'm going to duplicate this tab. I'm going to go back to the same process, the My Account page. And now I'm going to put in that gibberish page again. So just some random page, hit enter. there we go. Our 404 page pops up. But now, unlike the MyListing default 404 page, which just takes us back to the home page, which is not a good experience, we now have the option to just let's go back. So when I click this, it's going to drop us right back into the My Account page versus going all the way to the home page. Cool? All right. So that's that. Next up is would have been, if we were following along with the template, the Elementor custom header. We are going to roll with the default MyListing header because it is out of the box. It is really great. It takes away a lot of the headaches of creating a custom header from scratch with Elementor. Specifically for MyListing websites, it's just their header is just really well done. So sometimes you don't need to venture out from that unless there's something special that you need to do. So we're going to move on and skip the header, and we're going to move on to the footer. This is the same exact process. You can create a footer from scratch. You can import one from the club. You can import one from another source, and then you use display conditions to set where you want the footer to be, okay? All right, so let's close this down. I'm going to show you by default the footer that you get with MyListing, which is not great. So this is it down here. We will get into the theme options later on in another lesson. But for now, I'm going to show you, if you go to Theme Tools and then Theme Options and then Footer, what I like to do, you see here, first of all, you're very limited in what you can do. It's just not that great. So I like to just toggle this stuff off because I haven't tested this like to see what's actually loading. But my guess is just by toggling those options on, there's code loading somewhere, right? That's my guess. There has to be, right? So I like to turn everything off and remove all the footer text and just do the show the back to top button. So what that button does is, let's say you have a longer page, and then the longer pages qualify for a back to top button. So it's going to display a button. I'm sure you've seen them before. And you click it, and it's going to take you all the way back to the top of the page. All right. I do like to use that portion of the MyListing footer. All right. We're going to click Update. Okay. So let's get our footer in place. So for that, we're going to do the same process. Templates, Add New. And this time, template type is going to be footer. And let's just call it footer. Create template. Click the import icon, select file, select our footer, hover over the footer and choose insert. There we go. Now down here, when we click publish, instead of it just defaulting to where we need it to, Elementor is now allowing us to customize this even more and choose conditionally, where do we want to load this footer? You can load it on the entire website. You can load it only on listings. You can blog posts. You can create different footers for different places and assign them to those areas. Just super, super flexible with what you can do. Again, another thing with, like, you're looking at the MyListing footer options, it's not available to you without doing something custom, and which is more advanced than most people are going to get into. It's just not worth the time or the effort or the money, really. So going Elementor Pro is the way to do the footers with MyListing websites, okay? All right, so we're going to click Add Condition here, and we're just going to roll with the default, which is entire site. But if you choose this drop down here, you can choose particular pages, parts of WooCommerce, posts. You can choose to exclude. Totally up to you what you want to do there. But we're going to go with the default, which is display the footer on the whole site. Save for changes. Now we're going to duplicate this tab. There we go. So this is our nice footer from Canvas in here. Compare that to this. All right. It's just worlds different. Okay. These menus will display better as we go along because there's no page structure. There's no menu structure for them to pull from yet. We haven't created our pages. Okay. And then down here, this is the policies. So this will look better here in a second. All right, so we've knocked down the custom footer, and we are now on to the policies. Again, if you would allow me a bit of narrative here. Disclaimer, the contents of this task and what I'm about to tell you is not legal advice. Additional policies may be required that are not mentioned here. Consult an attorney if needed. There is no way around it. If you run a website, you must have policies, privacy policy, terms and conditions, etc., to protect your business and protect your users. While crafting your policies on your own or copying entire policies from other websites may be tempting, every business has different requirements. It's not worth the risk to guess what policies you need and what each policy needs to include. So, for example, if you go out and you just copy a privacy policy from somebody else's website, that the chances that that policy is going to cover what you're doing is not good. So it's just not worth the risk, or the terms and conditions, or whatever else it is that you're copying. Okay. Privacy policy is required for MyListing websites. This policy is required for almost every website because users provide their information: account registration, contact form, chat widget, newsletter registration, product purchases, etc. So you've got to have a privacy policy if you have a MyListing website. Terms and conditions often required. Again, if you have a MyListing website, it's pretty much a requirement. This policy is often required because website users have certain expectations: account access, order management, membership access, so on and so forth. Cookie policy, sometimes recommended. This policy is recommended if the website serves users from the area that requires GDPR to be followed. So if you and your business are required to be GDPR compliant, you most likely need a cookie policy. Cookie consent notice pop-up, sometimes recommended. If a cookie policy is implemented, a notice/pop-up should likely be implemented as well. The good news is the solution that I'm going to recommend, which is Termageddon, allows you to do the cookie policy, the cookie pop-up, without needing additional software. You don't need to go out and get another plugin or anything like that. It's all included for the same price, all right? And it's all managed under the same umbrella. All right, so we're going to look here right now at setting up a couple pages and how it works with Termageddon. All right, so we're going to jump over into our pages, and WordPress is kind enough by default to get us started with a privacy policy. So we're going to go over here and edit that. And I'm going to pull up the privacy policy on the Canvas site so I can just copy and paste in our embed code for Termageddon. Okay, first thing we want to do here is just delete all of this content. And you want to build these pages with Elementor if you're using Termageddon because it just looks better. The formatting looks better in the end. Okay. All right, so we've cleared all that data out, and the next thing we need to do, like I said, is edit this with Elementor to get that proper styling in place. Okay, I don't know why that content was still in there. It's probably because I didn't save my changes first, but I went ahead and removed that content again. Okay, so if you're not familiar with this, here, I'll go ahead and show you. So this is the privacy policy on the actual Canvas site. This is a trick. If you didn't know this, you can actually right-click on a blank area at the bottom of the page and choose Copy All Content from one site and paste it into another site that you are logged into. Really, really cool stuff, okay? For now, I'm just going to copy the heading and the embed code, okay? So right-click on the heading, copy it, I'm going to paste it right in here, paste from other site, and then Control-V to complete that task. There we go. The cool thing about this heading is it's already configured to pull in our post title, which in this case is privacy policy. And then next up, I'm going to copy the embed code from Canvas, which requires the HTML Elementor widget. So if you do a search for HTML, it's this widget right here. But we're going to go ahead and just paste that in from Canvas. So again, paste from other site, Control-V. There we go. So that's got all of our elements in there, and now we're going to publish. Let's look at it from the front end. And there we go. Cool stuff. All right. Now we need another policy. We're going to do a terms and conditions. If you've got a solution in place where you can duplicate your pages, you can do that here if you want. I'm going to go ahead and just create a new page. I'm going to call this terms and conditions. And I'm going to go ahead and edit this with Elementor in the same way. and I'm over on Canvas, and I'm going to pull that up and do the same thing again. We're going to copy and paste over. So now grabbing the heading, paste that in. And I'm grabbing the embed code, which is from the HTML widget, paste from the other site. There we go, publish. Check the front end. There we go. So just that quick, we've got our privacy policy and term setup. One of the real cool benefits of Termageddon is, let's say there's a change to this stuff. This is all just embedded, right? So you would just, if there's something that you want to change, you just go to your Termageddon dashboard, you make the change, and it flows to your website. Now, if Termageddon identifies a change with any of the laws that they're referencing in this material here that they automatically publish for you, they will automatically update all of their customers' policies, so you don't have to. So you don't have to stay on top of the laws or anything. It just automatically adjusts for you. That is one of the huge selling points of Termageddon. What if you went out and copied a privacy policy from somebody else's website, pasted that into your website, one of the laws changed and you didn't know, you're potentially in trouble, okay? That is one of the beauties of Termageddon. Okay, so we've got those created. A couple more things here that I want to point out. Let's close all that down, refresh this. Now, I always recommend that any pages that have no SEO value, for one, that's point one. Point two, that you can't run the risk of them being cached, and you can't run the risk of them being cached in a search engine, right? Because once that's in a search engine, it's harder to get them out, all right? Your policies are those types of pages that should not be included in any of this stuff. They should not be indexed at all, okay? So for that, I'm going to show you an easy way to do it, how I do it. This will give me the opportunity to go and install the SEO Press plugin. This is the SEO plugin that I use and recommend. If you are in any communities where SEO professionals exist, so SEO was it's still one of the services that I provide with my agency, WP Turned Up. It's one of my the biggest things I offer. And so I'm in communities, right, that deal with SEO. When anyone talks about what is the recommended solution for SEO, for WordPress websites, SEO Press is always at the top of the list. Now, if you're in some of these other communities where people say, hey, what's the best? They don't know what the best is. They just say what the best is because it's something that they use, okay? So oftentimes, maybe that's rank math, for example. They've got a good user base. So people say it's the best. Just because they use it, it's the best, and that's not true. I'm not saying that rank math isn't good or other SEO plugins aren't good. And I'm not even saying that SEO Press is the best. It's because these are tools and it depends on actually who's using them that really makes them worthwhile, right? So I am just telling you from my experience in the communities where SEO professionals exist, that SEO Press is the most recommended. Okay, so that's what I'll say there. Okay, let's go ahead and install this and we'll activate it. Now let's go back to our pages and refresh. And now we have a really simple way to exclude these pages from being indexed. So I'm going to hover over the privacy policy and do a quick edit in the same terms and conditions. Or we can select both of these pages, go under bulk actions and choose enable no index and apply. And do that same thing again for no follow. Apply. And then you'll notice over here, we've got a new column for our no index, no follow. So that's a convenient way to tell you what pages we're doing that for there, okay? So cool trick there. Okay, so the next thing up here, we see that privacy policy. WordPress, like I said, is already kind enough to set this as our privacy policy. We need to tell WooCommerce that our terms and conditions page is there, okay? So for that, we go to WooCommerce and then settings. And there's going to be a WooCommerce lesson. So we're going to cover all this WooCommerce stuff at a later time. But for now, we go up under the advanced tab and under terms and conditions here, we just want to select our page. So just type in the word terms or whatever it is that you call your terms and conditions page, select it, save your changes. Now when you go back to pages, you'll notice here that it's specified as your terms and conditions page, and it'll show up on your checkout process and that sort of thing. And that's the other thing too, by setting this as your privacy policy page, that's going to show up on your checkout page. Okay. So we did the 404 page, our footer, and that covers the policies. So we are good to go for this lesson. Thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I will see you in the next lesson.